Hello friends, we're doing a garden tour. It's the beginning of September and we actually have some updates. Starting with the porch, we got the puppies here, but we relocated the shelf back inside because we've had some, well, not bad things, but just things we're troubleshooting. So let's go outside. So this fence is new. I think it's probably been about a year, but the ground here in our yard is higher than their yard, and this is the lowest point in our yard, so everything kind of washes this way. However, they had to obviously dig and dislodge a lot of dirt along the fence when they put it in, and we thought that we had leveled these pavers, these big pavers that we had the Green Stalks on, but I think even as the dirt was still, like, we might have leveled it here, but as it was shifting around it, dirt's just been readjusting naturally. So we've had to pull the green stalk that was on here, which is this one, off. And I think this one looks fairly straight. This one was leaning a lot. So I pulled that over here. So that's on there. We move this down. This is kind of my workspace right now. Nothing crazy, but these two are still on their watering system and doing good. Relatively good. This one I never hooked up, although I've meant to. I've just been kind of waiting because I want to replant it in the fall. So we're pretty much getting close to that point because it's September now. So we'll probably be working on that this month. I'm not going to touch this one. This is going to be essentially my potato tower for the foreseeable future, except for maybe the top part, because there's some zinnias and some basil that went to seed. So I'll be harvesting those seeds. But this one just could not keep up with the heat, / I think it got a little suffocated with this one here. So we're going to be figuring out how to rearrange. We gave the almond tree bush a nice haircut. That got thinned out because it's hurricane peak right now for us. So that's trimmed up and looking good. And then we've made some progress in here in the fruit and garden section. We've been doing a lot of weeding, although you'd never know it. But there's a few eggplant that I bought one eggplant. It's in there. This volunteer tomato has already passed its, 5-foot trellis, or 4-foot, 5-foot trellis. But I'm just going to leave that. And there's some milkweed that volunteered in there. So I said, great. We'll put some herbs in. Something has been annihilating my squash. Shocking. But this one seems to be okay. But we've been trimming up a lot of the milkweed that has the beetles on it. Over here, we've been pulling some things out. We haven't finished. But there's little baby carrots that I put in earlier this year that just aren't doing great. But I bought some peppers I gave in. So I want to say 3 candy cane striped peppers and then 2 Cubanelle peppers from Home Depot. And we're going to get something started from seedlings and some from seeds this year. I need to take the sunflower, but it has such cute little blooms. I'm leaving this for now. The squash is doing good. We cleaned out this bucket. This is ready to go. I'm just trying to figure out what it is that's ready to go in there. And then I've been trimming back this tomato, the one that I showed you guys that had been getting eaten up. And then it started producing tomatoes, so I kind of took a break trimming it. But I think at this point it's better for me to just cut my losses and take it out and just refresh the whole bucket and just pull out the old one and just start new. I think we can do that. I thought we were going to get more tomatoes, but then it slowed down again. Over here, what you doing, Moose? Hi, Moose. Our butterfly bush bucket, which now has a lot of weeds in it. I've been trying to pull weeds out, but I haven't gotten all of them. Our dark desire rose has been doing great, even though I've been cutting the canes back because they're crazy. I put this plant in. I've had them before. I don't remember the name of them, but they're cute. But I'm just trying to get some filler in here a little bit to slow down any weeds. Hey, oh, hi, Moose. Hi, Moose. Okay, Moose is still here. Got it. while he's doing that, we have some basil that went to seed. I might still harvest some of it just for like a pesto, but there's a lot of basil. I've been cutting it like crazy, and I've already pre-made basil and frozen it. The squash is doing meh, okay. This rose, this one, there's just the weeds from the back that we thought were going to be able to be contained by the cardboard is not how it works. So we're going to have to work on that when it gets cooler. But the rose is doing okay. I'm really struggling with the weeds. This planter, I don't know. We're gonna rip this out. The squash isn't really taking. The Emerald Tower basil that you see there, I'm not thrilled. Like, the flavor's okay. It's just not incredible. And this is where the other eggplant. I've never grown this eggplant before. This is where I put it. It grew a little bit. I think it's just, I don't know. It's battling the elements. So, also, side note, found this on the side of the road in our neighborhood. Been trying to use it as a puppy pool. Otherwise, these roses, they're doing okay. I've cut them back a lot because we've just been having like cane growth, or there was just a lot of weeds. I don't know that they're doing spectacular. Like, this one looks a little borderline. There's not a lot of leaves on it, which make me nervous, but we're doing our best. This one's doing okay. It has a little bit more foliage on it. This planter is the one that has those, oh my gosh, what are they called? The yellow tomatoes that I love. Anyways, that's what these are that I've been trying to get growing. And they're like sort of making some tomatoes, but nothing's turned over yet. But this is more of that Emerald Tower basil. And it smells okay. It's just, I don't know. It's not as good to me as like the big Genovese basil. We got parsley here that's doing good. This Portlandia rose just finished blooming really just a day or two ago. It's been doing really nicely out here. And then over here, this container that we put all these butterfly plants in, I've been trying to deadhead a little bit, but the butterfly bush hasn't been taking for some reason. So I'm not sure if I did something wrong or what, but there's random basil on there, which is great. Oh, and I just put this plant, don't remember the name of it. Oh, shoot, I must not have planted it well enough. It's got we're going to need to get some more dirt from Home Depot, I think, here soon. But I thought it kind of matches the Granada rose. I did some good deadheading on the cat whiskers, but it's just really hot. So they're struggling, but they're trying to keep up. Okay, so my phone overheated because it's so hot out. So I went inside, let it cool down, and then now there's cloud coverage because it's Florida for you. So we can continue the tour. We kind of finished this area, which is great. We finished that area. So let's talk about this area. So this container was supposed to be like my experiment with pollinator plants, and just like kind of letting it grow. I probably put too many plants in here, but now I also have plants plus weeds. But what I'm actually most excited about is the fact that the jasmine is starting to finally take and start growing up my trellis, which I was a little worried at one point that it wasn't going to progress anywhere, but it did. So some of this is obviously weeds, but then some of it is plants. So I've been trying to pull things out as I can, but easier said than done. So I'm still kind of learning how to manage in general. I mean, this is true for pretty much all of the buckets that don't have, essentially the earth box covers on them. How do you manage, like the roses, for example? We have the base roses. We had some onions in, maybe some fillers or spillers, and just balancing how many plants are appropriate for a bucket versus having enough plants in there to prevent weeds. I'm still learning that, and I think it's different, 80 different ways over. But let's just finish up really quick. So I'm just gonna let this amaranth die out essentially, but our finger lime has been doing good. All of these plants, the lantana, they're doing good. Now this Starburst, whatever, or I think that's what it's called, Starburst something. I've rotated it and I pulled out some of the dead stuff, and I really like it, and it does really well on the side of the house. So the side of the house got some of this earlier, and it did well. So we have one of our climbing roses over here, the Joseph's Coat. So I put this plant in to help kind of fill in some of the bottom area. So hopefully we'll limit some weeds, but we have some milkweed in there, we have some aloe, some onions, so I think it's a pretty good mix. Another volunteer tomato. I don't know what kind it'll be. It'll be a surprise, but I'm not watering it, so it's watering. I think what's happening is any overflow from here is dripping this way, and that's what's watering it, so whatever. There is one little spaghetti squash plant that I think I need to just start over. Whatever. Our compost tumbler has been doing really good because it's so warm. I just put stuff in here the other day. I need to mix it up, but it's been very warm in here, so things are definitely breaking down beautifully. But right now, we're in like a weird transitional phase between like peak heat season and then like, Florida fall. So when it starts either raining a little bit more than like a few minutes at a time, or starts cooling off, what my plan is, we've had a year with this line and it's been doing really well except for all of the weeds and stuff, and I was really hoping that like our cardboard barriers would be enough to prevent weeds from overtaking areas, but it's not, despite my best efforts. So what I'll probably be doing is like maybe a group of or so of them at a time. I'll be pulling them out, weeding behind them, trying to check, probably check on the bins, let's be honest, while we're in there, and then pulling the weeds out and then putting some like, I guess, the plastic weed barrier. I have some of it down. I was trying really hard not to use plastic, but it's kind of like, I think it's getting to be like a bit of a safety thing. Like, I don't know what's crawling around back there, and with the puppies and everything, I just don't want to find out the hard way. But I mean, my almond bush is not really a bush anymore if it's taller than the house, I suppose, but it has been bringing so many wonderful pollinators to the yard. So I'm going to keep this area focused on food and sprinkle some food plants in here, but I really want to make sure I have a nice diversity in regards to pollinator plants. So as I'm refreshing some of these buckets, especially the roses, looking at what might be a good companion plant for them. And the roses, that's going to be on my radar coming up. And then you have like little volunteer plants, which are great. And then taking care of these Green Stalks, I think, will be the next one. This one's pretty much fine, but we're going to replant this one. And now that it has a little bit more space and this one's not next to it, I'm going to try to figure out, are we leaving that there? Are we going to just put wall-to-wall Green Stalks here? I'm not really sure. And then I'll start pulling some of this other older KO out. We'll refresh them. I don't want to, I feel like I kind of lost a growing season this year when I tried to do all of my peppers from seed. That was not my best move ever, but I was trying. I really thought I could do it. But that's okay. We learned some things what not to do. So I'm probably going to be buying some seedlings and then trying to get some others to grow. Like this one was a seed, and I don't remember at this point which one it is, but I'm not going to rip him out because he's doing okay, but I'll probably try and just put some other assorted seeds in here and see if I can get them to grow from scratch, or I don't know. We got a lot. There's a lot going on in the yard, but it's just been so freaking hot here in Florida. So here's hoping that September's a little bit nicer and we can get a little bit more done in the yard. But we got new plants in. We got some roses, or not some roses, we got some plants for the roses. We got some peppers, some eggplants. We're doing okay. It could be way worse. So yeah, that concludes today's garden journey. I hope you guys enjoyed this tour, and hopefully the next check-in we do will have more exciting updates about new plants and redoing things. But yeah, this is gonna be my next big project is to pull out the planters sections at a time and get some weed barriers in there and see what we can do to help limit any weed growth. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. All right, friends, thanks for joining us for this September garden tour. Have a great day. I always forget to do the side of the house. There's not much going on here. Been doing a lot of weeding, trimming stuff back. The only real exciting thing we have, besides all this milkweed and zinnias, is that we have some limes or lemons started. But I cut back the big milkweed that was back there and been doing some weeding, but definitely gonna work on this area when it gets cooler. Okay, this time we're done. Gotta go take the puppies for a walk, right? Yeah, Wally wants to go. Okay.